We're live. Okay. Couple minutes late. My dad always taught me it's good to be on time, but what's that? 3 minutes late. Yesterday it ended super abruptly because this thing just drains the battery like crazy, but we're at 80%, so it should be okay. So the title of this video is I think it's like Trump, Bitcoin, stocks. Overall, the market is not looking good at all. So we're gonna break all of that down. It's before market open. It was just a chill video. I just made a coffee, grab a coffee. If you have questions, drop them in the chat. But we're gonna break down all sorts of different things that are going on, especially with Bitcoin and metals, because it has been just absolutely insane what has been going on in the market. So let's get started. If you guys have any questions, I'll check the chat briefly. So, first things first is gold, which has been absolutely insane. If I pull up this guy right here, this is Bullion Star. Seen a Bullion Star before opening hours, customers already lining up to buy gold and silver. That's pretty wild. October 17th. So yeah, so that is today, 168,000 views. People are late to the party. I would not want to be buying gold right now unless I was in like South Africa or something where, Argentina, where your dollar is going to be getting destroyed with inflation. But I do think they're a little bit late to the party. But everyone's jumping in on the gold rush. Let's see what's going on specifically in the charts, though. Before we hop into the fundamentals, before we hop into everything that's going on in the market in the world. So you can see here, gold yesterday made an all-time high of almost 4,400. 4,400 is just up here, which is absolutely insane. We did just drop all the way down overnight to 40, just below 4,300. This is the 1 hour chart. So things have just been absolutely insane. It just only goes up and to the right, which is crazy. So the question is, well, how do you actually trade this? I mean, if you have an unlimited stop loss, you just kind of buy and hold. But at this point, it's even hard to draw a fib retracement because, I mean, we almost came back from this guy here. We almost touched the 38.2. But this is a fundamental play more than a technical play, 100%. The reason that gold has been going up has been so obvious, so straightforward. Same thing with Bitcoin. I mean, if there's been one takeaway from the Trump administration, it's, it's not what you would think it is. Everyone wants to get super political, super fiery. My side's right, your side's right. But I think the biggest takeaway, and it's because nobody's talking about it. So that's probably how it is the biggest takeaway because, they just want you to be, distracted all the time. I think the biggest takeaway is that it doesn't matter who's in office, red or blue, the money printer is going to go and the debt is just going to keep moving higher and nobody is going to get this under control. And that's why Bology, that's why Ray Dalio, they have been screaming from the rooftops about this. So it's really pretty straightforward, pretty obvious for why this is going up. People are already hedging themselves. It's not about what the market's going to do just today. It's about what's going to happen tomorrow. And the dollar has had its worst year in decades, which is totally wild. If I pull up this guy here, over the last year to date, it doesn't show the percentage change, but I mean, we were at 110 and we're below 100 now. So it's been over a 10% drop, which is it's brutal. Over a 10% drop is absolutely brutal on the dollar. And so the reason that gold has been going up is so straightforward. It's such a fundamental play. So I'm not saying buy now because we're overextended. I think on the monthly, let me see if I can pull that up actually, because it was really valuable. On the monthly chart, the RSI has been it's super overbought. Here, let me share this one here. So in full parabola mode. So the monthly RSI is at the highest level since the 1970s, which is really crazy. There were some better charts here. Yeah, gold monthly RSI is at historical levels. This is where we have always seen the top come in. The rotation into crypto is starting to happen behind the scenes. Listen, we're going to talk about crypto. The question is, the $1 million question is, who front who front ran? It's still early. Which asset is leading the charge in terms of the move? Is it gold and Bitcoin's going to follow, or is it actually vice versa, where Bitcoin was rallying earlier this year and now gold is catching up? That's the $1 million question, because if it's gold first, Bitcoin's going to rally. Whereas if it was Bitcoin first, we're kind of near the end of the cycle where we'll probably see some deeper pullbacks. But I totally agree here that, with the RSI, that is a big major red flag. We're so overextended. I mean, was it JP Morgan with the $5,000 price target that they released yesterday? I'm not sure. I'm going to pull that up. I mean, the dollar has found a little bit of support here with the daily moving averages. It's the 150, I believe. So we're getting a little bit of support. But it's just absolutely insane. Let me pull up, though. Let me pull up. It was in the Pip Munch email this morning, which you should all be subscribed to. Let me pull that up. October 17. Here we are. Let me pull this guy up and we'll look at the fundamentals for what is going on. Don't worry, Sanjay, can you see? Hold on. Let me show you this. Can you guys see that? You should be able to see my screen now. Are you able to see that? Sanjay, if you're still here, I mean, I see it on my end, so hopefully you guys can see it on your end. But this was the email from this morning. Banks are bleeding, gold is eating, and the Fed's cornered. So completely free. So in terms of, I mean, yesterday's numbers were ugly, especially for Bitcoin. Ooh, I don't know what happened here. That's a typo. But yeah, 107,900. It's dropped overnight. So stocks took a dive. Ultimately, the reason that the market dropped yesterday is because of regional banks, which are in a lot of pain. You can see Western Alliance, 10% drop, Zion's bank, over 10% drop. Just nasty across the board. I think we have a Finviz here, financial. JP Morgan, 2.3%, Berkshire, 1.5%, Bank of BAC, 3.5%. So what's going on here? Markets face planted yesterday as fears over the banking sector came roaring back. Regional lenders dropped, not exactly the confidence boost Wall Street wanted before the weekend. Why? Traders are spooked that these smaller banks might be sitting on ticking time bombs of bad loans as the economy slows and credit tightens. Add that to a cocktail of weak earnings and jittery sentiment, and you've got yourself a risk-off day, which is exactly what happened. So you want to keep an eye on regional banks. If they start bleeding, it's usually a warning sign for broader liquidity stress. And this is what Balaji was screaming at the mountaintops a couple of years ago. Banks, if you look at their balance sheet, they are carrying hundreds of billions of dollars. I believe it's hundreds of billions in unrealized losses because of the interest rate on those loans that they took on during the COVID era, which could lead to some really disastrous things. That's why he thought Bitcoin was going to hit $1 million in 90 days, and he burned $1 million. He bet $1 million that it would do that. Okay, so 10-year yield dropped below 4% for the first time since April, which is a clear signal that traders are shifting from soft landing optimism to, oh crap, things are slowing down. So when people start to think that the economy is going to slow, that a recession could be coming, those bond yields are going to drop. Why did this happen? So we had weak manufacturing data, which tanked to multi-year lows. So again, these are going to be leading indicators that the Fed is going to be watching in terms of figuring out how many rate cuts are on the way. Fed pivot bets. Traders are pricing in back-to-back 25 basis point cuts in October and December. I want to pull that up actually because let me pull this up. If we look at the Fed on Polymarket, Hannah, thanks for joining. Nice to have you here. Nice to have all of you guys here. Fed decision in October here. This guy right here. So Fed decision in October, there is a 94% chance of a 25 basis point cut. And there's an 80% chance of a 25 basis point cut in December. So the market is already pricing in 2 rate cuts for the rest of this year. And is there any in 2026? Next 3 Fed decisions. And now there's a 45% chance that at the first meeting in 2026 that they'll also cut. So the market is front running this in terms of their expected growth, and that's why we're starting to see yields drop. Remember, so lower yields are lower borrowing costs, but also a big neon sign flashing growth is slowing. So cautiously positive for equity. So they're going to cut rates. It's just a matter of time. Rates are still really high. And so the question is, how much of that move has already taken place? Stocks are at all-time highs. Gold at all-time highs, right? Because we know the money printer is coming. So how much of that is already priced in? That's again the million-dollar question. Okay. So this is what I wanted to show. I think gold just keeps winning. So gold futures cross above 4,300. It is the first asset in history to hit a $29 trillion market cap. It now takes seven Nvidias to buy gold's market cap, which is insane. That's super crazy. But it was Bank of America. It was okay. So it was not JP Morgan. It was Bank of America raises its gold target to $5,000 an ounce, and cites stagflation risks as the driver. So look, this is what we said in the email. This isn't just a shiny rock rally. It's a global hedge against chaos. That's what's going on here. Gold, Bitcoin, it's these hard, finite assets that people are going into because the dollar is weak, because people are losing trust in the dollar. Fiat's going to zero. I bought some more Bitcoin this morning. Hopefully my wife's not watching this. I didn't tell her that. She might get upset with me. Gold, Bitcoin, and hard assets are eating as fiat melts. Okay, so it's still sitting on cash. I mean, the dollar has lost 10% of its purchasing power this year alone, which is just, it's insane. So $30 trillion market cap. So that's kind of the drivers. How much Bitcoin. Hannah, rule number 1 of Bitcoin is you don't tell people how much Bitcoin you own. So I can't disclose that information. I'm sorry. So the other thing that I wanted to pull up was, give me a second here, some Trump news, some macro news that might be moving the market. This guy here. So what's going on in the market right now? The S&P 500 futures erased losses as President Trump says tariffs on China will not remain. So once again, the taco trade, Trump always chickens out, can make you a ton of money. It has made me some money. So now futures are up overnight. If we come back over to TradingView, we can see that it's pretty flat. The S&P, oh, and yeah, we did have a nice rally back. So we were down overnight. We hit 65.40, this nice moving average here. So we're flat. The Nikkei, MicroStrategy, oil, yeah. So a little bit of a bounce back because of that good news. But I mean, we're not far off from all-time highs. And speaking of the Bitcoin purchase, I mean, it's so hard to buy stocks right now because everything is valued so high. If we go back to all-time highs, if you buy right now, you're going to have a 2% return, which is, I don't get out of bed for a 2% return. I don't know about you. Whereas Bitcoin, if we come to our beloved Bitcoin, which hit the daily 200 moving average yesterday, I mentioned that in yesterday's live stream, it broke below. If we return to all-time highs, it's about a 20%, 19.5% return, which is much more exciting. So for those of you that are newer to Bitcoin, perhaps, I mean, I have been super bullish on Bitcoin. The reason I'm sitting in this house is because of Bitcoin. I've made more money with Bitcoin than anything else. And I think if you're interested in Bitcoin, first you have to understand it. You have to understand 21 million Bitcoin created. You have to understand how it works, why it was created, what it solves. I don't think I've ever met anybody, and this is kind of like the common Bitcoin argument. Nobody who has spent just a handful of hours studying Bitcoin doesn't like Bitcoin, right? So it can be a little bit taunting to get into it, to understand it. But once you do, you realize just how many problems it can solve. So when I buy Bitcoin, I think it's going, over the next 10, 20, 30 years, it's going up. right? I have no doubt whatsoever. But my sort of investing philosophy is I don't want history to have to be made in order to make money. So even at 120,000, I think, yeah, over a long enough time period, and my time horizon is long, I think for sure it's going to go up. I'm very confident in the fundamentals of it going up, but I don't want to have to bank on history being made. So if I bought at 120, to go back to proven all-time highs of 126, it's a 5% return, right? Which is not the best. Whereas if we buy now, it's a 19.5% return. So it starts to get a lot more interesting because you can have a 19.5% return if we return to all-time highs, and you don't even need all-time high. You don't need historic highs to be made in order to make money. It's the same thing I did with Coinbase, which I've shared in the Pip Munch email over the last 6 months. I bought Coinbase back in April-ish around 180. I bought. And so again, my whole thesis was, well, to go back to, the highs here of, 108, it's 50% return, but it's actually gone on higher and it's done like 120% or even more when it was up to 425. So that's kind of how I think about things, how I approach things, especially with Bitcoin. But if you're interested in it, I highly encourage you, I had a buddy in 2015 tell me about it. It's like, "Oh, it's nonsense. That cost me so much money." Every day you don't learn about something is actually costing you money, and I need to remind myself too that that's the mindset that I need to have, right? If you wanna make $1,000,000 every year and you're not making $1,000,000, well, it's actually costing you $1,000,000 every year to not have the knowledge that's required to make it. So, you're definitely leaving money on the table. It might not be with Bitcoin, this isn't financial advice, but just anything in life. So that's kind of how I think Bitcoin. Do you guys have any questions? I appreciate you guys being here. CNN fear and greed index is already in extreme zone. Really? When in October is the Fed decision? That's a good question. Let me see here. When is the Fed decision? The Fed decision in October is October 28th and 29th. So Wednesday, October 29th at 2 p.m. So that's not next week. I believe that would be the week after, followed by the press conference. So October 29th, mark your calendars. That one's going to be a big one. Hey, thanks for saying hi, Wall Street. Wall Street ad IDC. That's a mouthful. Let me pull up the CNN Fear and Greed Index because I'd be surprised that it's already. Let me share this guy. Um, oh my goodness, you are right. I don't know. I don't know. That seems a bit crazy. Extreme fear. That was previous close. That seems so. I feel like, CNN. Can you really trust anything CNN says? But dude, we're at all-time highs. How can we be at extreme fear? That's crazy. Okay, yeah, there's fear in the market for sure, but look at this. We're 2% away from all-time highs. The S&P this year alone, the S&P 500 this year is up 13%. 13%. Look at that taco trade right there, right? Buying in April. Oof, that was nice. That was nice. So, I don't know. That's kind of crazy. Is the screen still black? I need to like get a better laptop or something because I see it up here. But hey, Alex, video is not visible now. That's crazy. Maybe I just have to give it a second. You guys can't see the S&P 500? Good now. Okay, it just lagged. I don't know. Drop in the chat if you guys know a better setup. I'm just on like a MacBook Air right now. Um, it lags though. I saw the recording from yesterday and it's laggy. Hopefully it's not too bad for you guys. At least hopefully the audio is okay. But yeah, it's no good. It's no good. So that is. Let me now share this tab. Hopefully you guys can see that. So if you already answered this question, Apollo, but why did Bitcoin drop? Or is it just, yeah, so that's a good question. I don't know if I spoke exactly why Bitcoin dropped, but the reason it dropped was, according to CNN, we're in max fear. So it started last Friday Actually, let me pull up the chart. It started was it yeah, it started last Friday. Huge liquidation. It was the largest liquidation in history. I just shared my screen now, so it should, if it takes a second, but it should come up. Largest liquidation, single day liquidation in history, which would have been this guy right here. And that was for new potential tariffs. So it dropped because of Trump and China. This was a $19 billion liquidation in the crypto market, 10% drop in a single day on Bitcoin. Insane. Then we had a little bit of a correction, and then there was some news yes or 2 days ago about the cooking oil war. So all that to say, there's a lot of tension between China and tariffs right now. That's number one. Number two is the U.S. government shutdown is ongoing. It's into like week 3 now, so that's just putting like a little bit of pessimism into the market. Number three will be profit taking because it's up 60%. No, gold's up 60%. Bitcoin's not up that much. Bitcoin's up this year. Bitcoin's up. Wow, that's crazy. Year to date is only up 12.6%. But I mean, in the last year, it's up 55%. So some good old profit taking going on there. And then everything that's going on with the Fed. So it's this idea that, we're starting to slowly see cracks in the economy. So all that to say, if you want the most simple answer, it's because of what happened starting on Friday. We had that liquidation with the tariff war, and that just sort of continued, just bad vibes overall. But I mean, 105, it's a nice price. Honestly, I think there has to be a ton of orders. I mean, you can clip this video. I could be wrong, but I think there's going to be a ton of orders at 100K. Actually, probably because we tend to see this around like major levels. The orders are probably just slightly above. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's orders at like 101, 102, and we could, come down here and get a big spike up. That's not to say it's going to go back up to all-time highs, but if we're going to break 100, I think we're going to get a bounce first around this area, and then if it breaks, then it could go lower afterwards. Yeah. Already answered. Yeah, I see your video. Perfect. Thanks for being here, guys. So I wanted to jump back to, if you have questions, drop them in the chat. I wanted to just come here back to the Pip Munch email. So Lark Funding, obviously, my prop firm. If you guys are looking to take a prop firm challenge, we've got you covered. Okay, so we covered Bitcoin here. So you can see yesterday I took the photo 108. It dropped overnight again back to 105. So another 3K drop. Ethereum too. I don't follow Ethereum that much, but we're back below 4,000. So the 3.35% drop yesterday. Yeah, huge liquidation in the market. Okay, what stocks are doing interesting things? United Airlines CEO warned that the ongoing government shutdown could soon hit bookings. Delta's boss said the same thing last week. So yeah, so if you're flying, be a little bit careful there. Meta glasses, I don't know who is paying $800 for these Meta glasses, but they're made by Ray-Bans, and Ray-Bans is owned by, I'm not even going to try and say this name. So they said it's helping fuel growth. I think it's just, annoying TikTok influencers that are buying these glasses. Salesforce, I listen to my favorite podcast is My First Million, really, really good podcast. But they're always saying sponsors for like Salesforce and what's the other one? It's Salesforce and something. So they popped 4% yesterday. So you're going to continue hearing the annoying Salesforce sponsors in your podcast. Hewlett Packard, I mean, what a boring company, right? Hewlett Packard is like what your grandfather or great grandfather used to buy. Like, oh my goodness. Hewlett Packard dropped 10% yesterday after margins got smoked in its edge networking segment. I have no idea what that means, but the stock's still up 5% year to date. This was a good one, and we always like to share, some motivating stuff in the email. So this guy shared, XAU Victor shared an almost $8,000 payout with FTMO, which is pretty impressive. I have to admit, that's a massive, massive payout. I think my largest single payout was 6,900. So this one, hands out, beats me. But he said, not the type of payout I normally share since it's a bit small. Very humble. Very humble. That's crazy. Trading my own funds, $1 million funded. This guy looks pretty good. Oh my goodness. $19,400 FTMO. Couple of hours left. FTMO. FTMO slapped me with the 1% risk rule. Okay. FTMO 1% risk rule. I filmed a video 3 days ago about FTMO and hidden rules. It's not out yet, so I'm not going to get into it. But FTMO, hidden rules, we need to talk about it. Not right now, but in that video, keep your eyes out for it. We will need to talk about it because, yeah, there could be some issues. So that's that. What else do we have going on in Twitter here? Let's see. We got some market stuff, perhaps. Da, da. Lark funding, gold rush in Vietnam. Oh my goodness. People storm shops to buy and sell the yellow metal, which now trades at over 4,300. That's crazy. Oh my gosh, that is really crazy. Prop for match. Da, da, da. What else do we have going on here? Let me go to Lark. Get more market stuff over here. On a long enough time frame, buying the cheapest prop firm challenge always ends in disaster. I will die on this hill. I will die on this hill. So many prop firms went out of business in 2024, and they were all cheap. And there's tons of cheap prop firms right now, 50%, 60%, 40% discounts. All you have to see, if you see a discount of 40%, I beg you, go first thing you see, XX prop firm, 40% discount. Go on, type in XX prop firm Trustpilot. I guarantee you it's going to be below 4 stars. Traders are getting, it's bad for the industry. Traders are getting hurt by denied payouts, terrible service. It puts a bad taste in everybody's mouth. S&P 500 futures are raised. Yeah, we saw that one. Another prop firm payout. US M2 money supply jumps to new all-time high. Like I said at the beginning of the video, doesn't matter who's in office. We are going up perpetually no matter what. Oh, this one's interesting. Bitcoin projected to crash below 100K this month. Oh, I thought this was going to be just in 2025. That's crazy. This month, 52% chance. I hope it does. I really hope it does. I'm telling you guys, you need to understand the fundamentals behind Bitcoin. Every drop is a beautiful opportunity. It's literally an amazing opportunity. I hope it crashes. I hope it goes below 100K. I just hope I still have some dry powder by then to buy some. We just dropped below 105. See it in the back. Just in Bitcoin drops below 104. Yeah. Crazy run, 10,000 locked with payout. What else? At the London Prop Trading Expo. London Prop Trading Expo. Okay. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Peter Schiff, gold is more likely to hit $1 million in Bitcoin. Keep dreaming, buddy. Not a bloody chance. Is there anything else going on in, oh my gosh, yeah, we have to talk about Mamdani. Zoran Mamdani. This guy's a full-blown communist. I can't believe, New York City is supposed to be the finance capital of the world, not just the United States, of the world. And they are about to elect a full-blown communist. He literally says he wants to take back the means of production. He wants to empty the prisons. And there was a third thing that he said that I was talking about just last night. He's very charismatic. He's very charismatic. And I'm not saying that like you can have the worst person in the world. Serial killers are charismatic. So he's very charismatic. So it's not a shock it's not a shock that he's leading. If we looked at the insanity of COVID, people will fall for literally anything. So the fact that he has an 89% chance of winning is crazy. But he's been running hard. So props to him. Cuomo has been running like he's in the lead, and Mamdani's been running as if he is behind. So, he's been running an excellent campaign, but just the fact that people are willing, it's crazy to have government-run grocery stores to take back the means of production. I don't know. I think it's absolutely insane. Yeah, free groceries. The thing is, it's just human nature. People want stuff for free. They want things that they don't have to work for. It's human nature. And so the idea of communism, free groceries, oh my gosh, amazing, right? Here in Canada during COVID, we had CERB, CERB, so you get $2,000 a month for free for literally doing nothing. Of course, felt great. Feels great. You get to sit at home, but then you wonder, why is everything so expensive now? Because of inflation, because they gave out everyone money, because they printed all kinds of money. So it's just insane. Just to go back, do you trade other prop firms? Which ones? I traded FTMO when I first got into prop firms. So I did trade with FTMO. But aside from that, I don't think I've ever traded with other prop firms. I don't think so. So, New York City election, we'll see what happens with that because it's insane. Fed decision, we looked at 94% chance, so it's already baked in. Gavin Newsom, oh my goodness, 35% chance for Democratic presidential nominee 2028. Speaking of charismatic, he's charismatic, but he's also just insane. I mean, look at the state of California, the homelessness. AOC would be crazy too. AOC 11%, that'd be crazy. Presidential election winner. The fact that there's already $73 million bet on who's going to win the election in 3 years is wild. And the market's liking JD Vance. The market is liking JD Vance at 55% chance. I love Polymarket. This is great. There's only an 18% chance of the Russia-Ukraine ceasefire in 2025. So Trump is going to be meeting with Putin in Budapest soon. If I pull that up, which was a positive for the market. Let me see here. Trump, Putin. I don't know where I saw that. Yeah, let me see here. Yeah, Putin, Trump call a curveball for Zelensky. Yeah, so Zelensky is meeting in the White House either today, what are we, Friday? I think today he's meeting. And then next week, Trump will be meeting with Putin in Budapest. So it could be good for the market, but clearly Polymarket making these odds because the chance of a ceasefire has been dropping. That's crazy. Oh my gosh, it's only been dropping ever since. It was up to a 72% chance of a ceasefire in 2025 back in March, and it's just dropped. That's wild. That's really, really crazy. So hopefully that ends soon. How long will Trump and Zelensky shake hands on Friday? That is so funny. Trump just manhandles Macron in France. That was so funny. When will the government shut down? And I've never actually placed a bet on Polymarket, but it could be fun. Some of this stuff is crazy. We put in the Pip Munch email a couple of months ago, a guy who's made $1 million and he just bets no on different stuff, right? Because he says that people over-index on thinking things will happen and under-index on just basically the status quo remaining. So he'll just bet no on a bunch of different events, which is kind of an interesting approach. Your thoughts on why Pierre lost in Canada? Pierre didn't. Okay, I like Pierre Poilievre. He ran an awful election. Like he was nowhere. Like before, when Trudeau was prime minister, you would see clips of Poilievre all over the place. That apple eating one at the apple orchard, just destroying reporters, and you had none of those clips in during the election cycle. So I just think he ran a really, really bad campaign. He almost ran as if it was, a given. He didn't run like he was behind. But I mean, never, how do I say this somewhat politely? Never underestimate the ability of Canadians to make horrible decisions. It's not a controversial opinion to say that the cost of living in Canada is too high, right? Groceries are expensive. It's not controversial to say that housing is too expensive. It's not controversial to say that homelessness is too high. None of these things are controversial. None of them, right? But as Canadians, what do? Okay, we recognize that we have these problems, right? So what are we going to do? Oh, let's elect the exact same party that's been in power for 12 years because, as Einstein said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. So, I mean, I'm Canadian, but we deserve everything that we're getting because, I mean, we voted for it. So that's how she goes. Let's take another look just now. I'll pull up TradingView again just to see what's going on. 105. If you guys have any questions, let me know. But I think we went over most of the stuff that I wanted to. 105.4 for Bitcoin. Pound yen, S&P. S&P is still up a little bit. Market's about to open. I always forget. It's When does US stocks? I always forget, is it 9 or 9:30? It's 9:30 that the market opens. I always think that it's 9, but it's not. It is 9:30. Let's see. Yeah. CQQ. Nothing crazy. Is there anything else breaking? Breaking news here. Trump Secretary Bessent to speak with Chinese trade counterpart. Moody says the banking system, private credit markets are sound. Isn't there a line in The Big Short? There's a line in The Big Short when they say, when they tell you don't panic, that's when you need to panic. So Moody's, not so sure. Dow futures rebound. Yeah, so we'll see what happens today. A little bit of a rebound for now, except for Bitcoin. So we'll see everything that's going on. Um, yeah, NFP. Oh my, no, it's not NFP. Uh, that too with a leader that no one even knew. Yeah, literally, PM 100%. Yeah, nobody knew Mark Carney 2 months before. Like, just total sham. But it's not NFP. NFP is on the first Friday of every month. Let me pull up my FX book. At least I don't think it. No, it's not NFP. Economic calendar. Da, da, da. Let's see what's cooking here. No, there's nothing. There's nothing going on today. So could be a quiet Friday, or it could be, a repeat of last week, and it could be absolutely insane. Apple. Small business is being crushed by Trump's tariff, blah, blah, blah. Da, da, da. Yeah, nothing too crazy. It was moved. Oh, right. It was moved because of the government shutdown, but I don't think it's today. Let me see. October 27th. Yeah. So not today. I mean, unless I'm missing something, but I don't think it's today. So that's that's that. What else do we have? Anything else cooking up? Lark funding, November 3rd. We're doing all the big changes. So there's a small chance that it might be delayed just as we're building out all of the tech for the new updates. I hope not. My fingers are crossed. I really, really hope that it's not. That will be good to go for November 3rd, but there might be a slight delay. But obviously, we'll keep you guys posted on all that. But I'm excited. I am super excited for what's coming, for all the changes. I'm so excited to be something that is firmly different. Again, if you want to take a two-step program, tons of prop firms in the industry, but we want to do something different. And so I'm really, really excited for what's to come. We are also moving away from discounts. So if you're here and you want to take a prop firm challenge, October 10th is the last 10% discount of 2025. Next month, 100% transparent, 5%. Last month was 15%. And we've said, we're reducing them, and there won't be any discounts except for maybe June 1st, Black Friday, and Boxing Day 2026. We will have a promo for Black Friday, but it's not going to be a discount. It's going to be like a value add. So if you do want to save money, especially because the prices are going up significantly November 3rd with all the changes we're implementing, October 10 is your best shot at saving some money. Anything for already funded traders in the new plan? So no, that's the short answer. So the new plans it's a completely different offering than what we already have. So current traders, whether you're taking a challenge or you're in a funded account, nothing's going to change for you. It'll be a status quo. Service will be the exact same. Nothing's changing, so you don't have to worry about that. But we are removing the two-step program. The instant will, for the most part, stay the same, but it's really the one step that we're changing a lot. There's going to be a handful of features that nobody else in the industry has, and because those features, we're so confident that they're so good. I mean, as a trader myself, like I just asked myself, when I wanted to build a career in trading, when I wanted to quit my job, what is it that I wish that I had? And the answer to that is what we're bringing. So, because the features are so different, we can't retroactively apply them to traders that have already passed or taken a challenge because the pricing structure is going to be different. So So yeah, so current traders taking a challenge won't be impacted at all, but um, but we'll be bringing something very, very different. Anything, Brody? Yeah, today I just checked. Right, perfect. So that's that. So if you want to take a challenge, October 10 is your best shot. We processed a good number of payouts this week. Actually, I don't know if we've posted them yet on here. Yeah, we posted a good number here. Hassan 1348, Mohammed 1768. Mateo, I know Mateo, he's had a few payouts now, 2 or 3 now. So some nice payouts there. We recently redesigned the payout certificate, so I think it looks good. Let me know what you guys think. This tweet actually went crazy, which was surprising. We're removing the 5K accounts except on Instant. You can't build a career on a 5K account. 231 people like, but I think based on the 56 comments, a lot of people did not like it. But I think it's true. Depending on where you live, you can make a good amount of money on a 5K account relative to the cost of living where you live. But even then, you can't build, you're not going to live full time off a trading career, off a 5K account. If I wanted to play devil's advocate, I would just say, yeah, you're right. But you can start with a 5K, you can earn enough in payouts to buy a 10K, then you can build up to a 25, a 50K, a 100K, 200K. That's a pretty decent argument. But when I took my prop firm challenges, I only took 100K accounts, 100K challenges because it's the same amount of work. It kind of sucks when you pass like a 5K to be like, oh my gosh, if I had taken the exact same trades, if I did everything the same, I could have just passed a 100K and I could have made, 10 times as much. So personally, we're not going to be the prop firm for everybody. And that's what I keep reminding myself of, I'm not interested in competing with an FTMO. I want to serve traders that want to build a career. I want to serve traders that are in exactly the same shoes that I was in 4 years ago, where I wanted to quit my job, where I, decided not to go to university and I wanted to become a full-time trader. That's the trader that we're going to serve. If you're somebody who wants to spend, $5,000 on challenges to make 6K in payouts, we're not going to be the firm for you. So I really just want to provide, world-class service, and really offer what it is that I wanted to have when I was trading. Any trading competitions? We had one back in September. The problem with trading competitions, to be totally honest, is you get a lot of cheaters. You get a lot of people opening multiple accounts. You get a lot of traders that are just going full margin. And it's not really it's a gambling competition at that point. It's not a trading competition. So we need to figure out how to better enforce the rules. I don't mind the trading competitions, but so there's nothing planned with all the changes we're making right now. There's nothing planned for October. Maybe November, maybe December. We'll see. Okay, so we've been going for 40 minutes. If you guys don't have any questions, I think we'll end it here. We went over the charts, went over Bitcoin, went over the why the market's crashing. We went over gold. We went over a bunch of stuff. I really, really like doing these live streams. So if you are here watching it now, let me know. If you're watching the recording, let me know. I really enjoy doing these. It helps me think through what I think is happening in the market. And so hopefully you guys get a little bit of value from that, whether it's, entertainment or, learning something. That's cool. So let me know if you guys like these. And yeah, October 10 at Lark Funding for 10% off. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day. Peace.